Welcome to Creative Clarity, helping you to build confidence, clarity on your path so you can attract what you want within your life. If that's that presentation that you're preparing to do, it might be that interview, it might be that role you're going after, that audition, without fear of failure or rejection. Awakening that true self within. And yes, we have that true self. We often don't step into our potential, our ultimate potential that we have, and it's all connected to your heart space. Awakening that part of you that knows what's right, and that's part of your intuition. And often what it is it's blocked. So how we do this is through connecting with what's going on inside. So today we have Mark with us, who's going to talk about what he's experiencing right now. He's an actor, and I'm going to bring him into the room. It's very cold today. It was -3 last night. Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm a bit sepia toned this morning. I'm sorry, I don't quite have the technology for glorious Technicolor on this, so
Oh,
I'm
don't
looking a bit
worry.
grey. In other words,
No, it's all right. It's okay. It's not a problem. I know. Just try and get the levels right and everything else, isn't it?
yeah.
So, tell me, how's everything going with you?
At the moment, not too bad. I think I kind of reached out. We're in that Christmas period, weren't we, between Christmas and New Year, and
Yes.
everything had ground to a halt, and I was waiting on things, and I hate waiting on things. I like to be the one that's dictating the pace. I don't like it when other things slow me down and there's nothing I can do
Mhm.
about it. Um, Silly things that I'd sent a message to me agent. I'm still getting used to saying my agent. I'm still getting used to those words. It's something I only dreamt of a couple of years ago, and I'm having driving lessons at the moment. I put that in the
Mhm.
hands of a company that were going to organise me tests and everything. They went quiet on me. So you start thinking, is this now the self-fulfilling prophecy? Is this actually going to happen? I mean, since then, things have been a lot better. I mean, I went to a workshop on Saturday. I live in Sheffield. I'm from London, as you can probably tell by the accent. And I went home for a workshop in Streatham, not in Streatham, in central London, and it was absolutely brilliant. To the extent that the actual person facilitating it encouraged people to take her card and send her show reels and stuff like that and keep in touch. There's only 8 of us in the room, but everyone had made an impression on her, and I think including me as well. And since I've been on Spotlight, what I found is that when you do acting workshops, I don't know if this is just a coincidence of what it is, but the standard does seem to be better. They ask for people's Spotlight profile, and so you are at a standard where if you gained your Spotlight by earning enough money to get Spotlight,
Mm.
or you've graduated from somewhere which gives you Spotlight accreditation, and that was good. So I probably am feeling much better. Says he coughing his lungs up than I did when I was first in touch with you. But there is always this is a strange one, Natasha. I'm 55 years old. I'm a single bloke. Uh, I've not been kind of successful at life in any way at all, and I've always enjoyed larking around. And I tried acting at 32, fell in love with it, but spent on the back of a couple of bad decisions, location wise, and that kind of years in the goldfish bowl. And now I'm sticking my head above the goldfish bowl. There is this kind of feeling: is this me? Is this me?
So it sounds to me that you're focusing so much on the past, and this is what we do. And
Mhm.
this is important for everyone to know as well, that we do focus on the past, what we haven't done. And the more we do that, that's where it leads to anxiety, lack of motivation. And sometimes we don't end up pushing ourselves forward because of that reason.
Yeah,
Or we'll think about the outcome. And sometimes we're worried about what's actually going to happen, because there's going to be doubt there. There's always going to be doubt there. And this
mm,
can be for many different reasons, where it originates from within our childhood. So sometimes it's important to know where that might be stemming from.
yeah,
So in terms of, you said about impatience, you're finding it hard to be your patience, which is a common, is very common for people to not feel patient when they're going towards what they want, mainly because it's the outside of that familiarity. You don't know what's going to happen and you want it to happen now.
yeah.
So what's behind that? What's behind the patience, the impatience?
Lack of faith, probably. Just the
Oh,
fact that, and also, if I'm honest with you, I'm no spring chicken anymore. Um, I worry because the thing I've just kind of thought lately is I'm probably not going to make a fortune out of acting, and I'm not going to be on the front pages of any magazines or anything. But I just want to do something for a living that I like doing, and that I can give joy to people. You've probably experienced yourself that the environment of acting, generally speaking, and I know there will be some exceptions, and I read about toxic sets and that sort of thing, but generally speaking, the environment of acting is a very nurturing and supportive one, in a way that you don't really find in other jobs. I worked in admin all my life, and the most recent job, which I'm now in the process of kind of leaving, um, you were either one of them with their ideals and how they saw the world,
hmm.
or you weren't really going to fit in. And I fell into the latter category. I mean, I'm a working class Londoner. I'm living up in Sheffield. And I was doing a very kind of working class job for the NHS in a team filled with other people, local people. And they were lovely. Whilst this was kind of like an amateur thing, but when it became, well, I can do this diploma, and it's going to cost me a lot of money each month, but it's going to get me somewhere. They were trying to talk me out, or trying to tell me I was getting scammed.
Hmm.
And then when it started moving on, if I made a comment to somebody else about it, I whisper, "Listen, I'm not trying to sound better than us," and it was just very strange.
When it comes to, so what you talk about not having faith, so tell me about that.
Not having faith. Um, It's an interesting one because in many ways I do have faith, but I just, that, like you say, there is always this doubt that is this really going to come about? Is this going to happen for me? And
Hmm.
when you have your whole life, you have people tell you, and you're brought up in an environment where it's like, you know, acting, creativity, um, uh, money gained through being creative. It's for other people. It's for them over there. You're not one of them over there, Mark. And they're a rare breed. The chances are you won't do it.
So
So yeah,
let's try something,
okay,
if you're happy to do that,
yeah,
and let's see how we get on. And what it involves is, because the way we change our state, okay, and this is actually through sustainability, because we need to feel it within our body. Otherwise, it doesn't change, it doesn't shift.
yeah,
And the neural pathways do through positivity. So we need to increase that sense of positivity. What we're going to be doing is a meditation practice, it's a mindfulness practice.
mm,
If you're happy to do this, I'm just
yeah,
going to ask you to close your eyes. And we're going to focus on the breath, focusing on the breath. Take an inhale and exhale. Noticing what's going on inside of the body. and just acknowledging it. So, if you feel any level of self doubt around your path, you're not sure, the uncertainty, seeing what it feels like to be with it. When you're thinking about your path and what it is that you want, and perhaps even related to the uncertainty and also feeling like, oh, I haven't done it yet. And quite often that's what we do. We think about the negative. We go back, we might say, I should have done this years ago. But that was your experience then. And this is important to know that it was an experience that you went through. And there's many different reasons why we might not have decided to do that path, but you have the skills that have led you to today. As we're beginning to reflect on that, what scares you, and perhaps thinking about that within your mind. What is it that scares you? And is there any worry there? What's the concern? As we're beginning to step into that, notice where you feel it within your body. And just taking notice and paying attention. Where is that? And seeing what it feels like to be with it. Just to be without trying to change anything or fight with it. And turning towards it. Because quite often it's that part of us that wants to keep us safe. We're beginning to awaken to who we really are. Stepping away from that small separate self that just keeps us familiar. And all it's rooted in is fear, anxiety, worry, uncertainty. That's all to do with the small separate self. Keeps you small. It stops you from growing. And as you're beginning to connect to that heart space of you, imagining that you're expansive. You're expanding to the corners of the room. And that could be through the breath and connecting through to the heart. And just noticing what it feels like to do that. And what does that part of you need? It might be reassurance. It might be support. What does it need? So you really begin to sense into that awakening of you, that it's possible. So let's have a look at the possibility. And humans have the endless possibility of what they're capable of. What is it telling you? What is that expansive version of you telling you? Even if there is any level of self-doubt, can I do this? Is this possible? I'm not sure if I can because it hasn't happened yet. Seeing what it feels like to just be with it. And almost just like holding it in this space. And offering anything that you feel could be helpful. So you begin to awaken to that part of you that knows what's right. Stepping away from the other self, the ego self. Light-hearted. That heart of you is your inner child, is your higher self, connected through love and compassion. And beginning to reflect over what does it need? And what does it feel like to step into me? And to have that certainty, this is possible. Through awakening to who I really am. And we only do this through connecting through to the heart. Comes back to the heart. Okay, as we're beginning to come to the end of the practice, drawing your attention back to your breath. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes.
Gosh, I feel floaty now. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did it feel like to do that practice?
Yeah, it was strange. I was trying to concentrate on what you were saying and all of the kind of conscious things you were trying to get me to do. But physically, it felt great. It felt very calming, very soothing.
Good. Yeah, that's the thing. When we are able to step into who we are, and we only do that through slowing down,
Yeah.
pause and breathe. But the way we need to know, because when we're in a heightened state of mind, we feel, to tell me about when you're in a heightened state of mind, when you feel stressed or you feel anxiety, what do you do?
Well, I try and control my breathing, but what I tend to do, I'll tell you a little story. Last week, I was starting to get a bit stressed. I mean, I've spent about £3,000 on driving lessons. I was diagnosed as being on the autistic spectrum back in 2014, and I got given I applied for and I got a travel card, which has been fabulous in getting me about my freedoms. But there was an element of I don't want to be bound by this diagnosis. So when we came out of lockdown nearly 2 years ago, I thought I'm going to have driving lessons. I'm going to have driving lessons, and I did. Now I've had a couple of bad experiences with the tests, but I was determined to forge ahead. But I went through one of these intensive courses. Do you drive at all? Can I ask?
Not I haven't passed yet, but
Right,
yeah.
you're in the same position as me then in that case. And finding tests is a nightmare. So I handed it over to this other company, Pass Fast, and I paid them a load of money. They found me a guy to do me 2-hour assessment. Then he went missing. So I found myself ringing up driving tutors that I'd abandoned, trying to get them to give me some extra lessons.
And
Just
how
out,
did you so
just out of
how
panic.
so you were panicking,
Yeah.
trying to make things happen, and this is what we usually do when we're in panic mode, because this is how we've grown up. Because remember, it's our environment that defines who we are.
Mm.
The more we're able to pause, breathe, quite often, then we'll find the answer. But it won't be in the space of panic. Anything that's based on the fear-based, anything that's operating out of fear is to do with the small self that keeps you there, it just keeps you safe. And the more we're able to just pause and breathe, we'll find the answer. So that might be something that you can do when you feel in panic mode. That's what I do. There's always going to be times where we feel out of control, because life is life. You never know and how to navigate through it. The only way we do that is actually through connecting through the breath and awakening to the heart. So we need to pause and slow down.
Yeah.
Pause and slow down and breathe and see what's going on. Notice what's going on. So that might be something you can do.
Can I say another thing as well, just to kind of endorse what you just said? Last night, I got sent some information about some workshops, and I booked myself one in Birmingham. I live in Sheffield for like next week, and I thought, well, I'll book it, and then I realised that I had an acting class the night before, but it was the day of the strikes, the rail strike. Now I have my acting class in Leeds. So what I thought I'll do is I'll put myself in a Premier Inn, and I'll get myself up to Leeds, and I'll go from Leeds to Birmingham. No, so I can do my acting class tonight. I'm in the Premier Inn. Now I've got the money to do it, but I started beating myself up over how much I'd suddenly. This is frivolous. This is too much. This is all extravagant. But when I was doing that exercise just now, because that's been on my mind a little bit, I made peace with it, and I thought,
Good.
well, maybe I'm going to learn something at the acting lesson that I can take to the workshop, and I can actually impress the person leading the workshop with. And I've just had a text come through from a friend of mine I was at college with in Birmingham years ago, and they're going to meet me for a bite to eat afterwards. So
there's a positive, isn't there? There's always a positive. We just have
panicking
to.
about it. I spent because I've got a bit of a wedge. I drew down a pension. I turned 55 in June, so I drew down a pension. I've got a bit of money, but there's me saying, should I be spending it on this, this, and this? And I could think that about London as well over the weekend. But London was just a fabulous experience. Right from when I got off the coach and had a proper London fry up to when I got back on the coach in the evening. It was just absolutely fantastic. So I don't give myself a chance to enjoy these things. I always think, should I be doing this? Can I be spending this? Rather than think, all right, you spent it now, enjoy it. And I do believe if you enjoy stuff and you spend on it, you'll get more. The universe or karma, or in my case, my higher power, will give you more opportunities to enjoy stuff.
It's all interconnected. The universe is interconnected with us. It's our part of our spirit, and the more we're able to connect, we get support, and we also are able to help ourselves on our path. But we do that through slowing down, and it's not always easy because it's knowing how to respond. We know how to respond through practicing mindfulness. It helps you within your path because it helps you to build neural pathways and change the way you feel just by doing that. Build self-awareness as well, and that's what we need to do in order to change how we feel in that moment. Because when it is that heightened state of mind, or I'm worried about this, or is this a good idea, am I spending too much money, we just kind of need to slow down, pause, and know what's right in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Natasha. I'm sorry there's a bit of a mix up over the time, but I really
all right.
appreciated that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and everybody as well I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. And if you want to find out more about working with me, I'm going to put a link in the description below as well, and I'll be uploading this podcast as well. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you. Cheers, Natasha.
Thank you so much, Mark, for coming on.
Thank you.
Just going to